You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. For over 3 weeks, an unprovoked and brutal war has besieged the Ukrainian people. Millions have fled their homes, thousands have been injured, and hundreds have died, though the true number of casualties is likely far higher. Around the world, there has been an outpouring of support and displays of solidarity. Hundreds of thousands have rallied to call for an end to the Putin-led incursion. Blue and yellow, the colors of the Ukrainian flag, have illuminated monuments and buildings, and Ukrainian songs and anthems have been proudly sung by Ukrainian speakers and non-speakers alike. Now, a Grammy Award-winning ensemble has added their magnificent voices to the resounding chorus of support. With a little help from a Winnipeg men's choir, I'm joined by Chanticleer's music director Tim Keeler and Husli board chair Christopher Sklipovich. Hello to you both.
Simon.
Hi, Simon.
Well, it's great to see you both. And I guess I should begin with a little bit of a disclosure. I, too, am a member of the Husli Ukrainian Male Chorus. I actually sing beside Chris in the second tenor section and assistant conduct the choir and have been involved in this little project from the get-go. But it's not every day that a connection can be made with a Grammy Award-winning ensemble based in San Francisco and a Ukrainian men's chorus in Winnipeg. So I guess, Tim, let me begin by asking you, what first made Chanticleer want to make a statement, to raise their voice and bring awareness about the war in Ukraine?
That's a great question, Simon. You know, it feels so hard being so far away from Ukraine, and as musicians, it feels sometimes like our options are limited as far as what we can do to support. Of course, we can donate as we can, and of course, we all have friends who are impacted in one way or another, and we can lend our support that way. But of course, what we have at our disposal most readily is our voices and our musicianship. And so that seemed to be sort of the most obvious way we could support Ukraine and to show our support for everything that they're going through at the moment.
And what marvelous voices you have. I guess the next question then is, how did you come to find the Husli Ukrainian Male Chorus here in Winnipeg?
Yeah, well, you know, the Lisenko prayer for Ukraine has sort of been making the rounds, and that's the piece that we contacted you all for help with. And it's rightfully so. It's a gorgeous piece of music, and from my understanding is it's fairly popular in Ukraine and sort of is a secondary national anthem. You can correct me if I'm wrong about any of this. And so, you know, that was the piece that opened SNL a couple weeks ago, and it's been in the air. And so, when we were thinking about something to do, of course, that was the first piece that came to mind. And looking at arrangements and listening to recordings online, Husli was one of the first ones that popped up with this glorious TTBB arrangement, which had so much power and strength in the singing, which just really struck me and called to me, and I thought that Chanticleer could do our own version of it and do a similar, hopefully some justice to the version, which is why I reached out.
Chris, how did you react when the message arrived in the Husli inbox from Chanticleer?
You know, I have to admit, it was there was a bit of a flurry of attention around us at the time, and we were getting requests for sheet music from Norway, from Sweden, from Austria. And then when this one from San Francisco popped up, and you know, myself not knowing very much about Chanticleer at the time, to learn about the history of the group and the accomplishments, and to know that they wanted to join with us in, as Tim said, using the tools that we have, using our voices to send support, to send solidarity, and to raise awareness around the world. It was a very humbling feeling.
Tim spoke a little bit to this, but Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about the text for Bože Veliki Jediny?
Absolutely. So the general concept of the song is it's pleading to or praying to God to protect our beloved Ukraine. And it talks about bless her with freedom and light of your holy rays, to enlighten the children with learning and knowledge. It's a very beautiful piece of music. You know, it beseeches the Lord to grant the people and the country kindness, grace, freedom, wisdom, to guide us through the world. And it ends with a very powerful line to say, bless us, O Lord, with good fortune forevermore.
Yeah, a patriotic hymn, really a spiritual anthem by Mykola Lisenko, the sort of the founding father of modern Ukrainian academic music. Tim, regular listeners of the station know just how talented the singers of Chanticleer are. You get some good airtime here in Winnipeg. I don't know if you've been listening, but we know that you're a versatile bunch of singers. Was there anything particularly challenging about singing in Ukrainian?
Yeah, we sing in a lot of different languages.
That you do.
But Ukrainian is not one that comes up very often. Certainly not in my time with the group. So it was really, when we do anything like this, I think it's really important that we don't just do it in isolation and do it on our own and say, okay, here we're doing this thing. And so it was really important, crucial to the actual performance of it, but also really important in the spirit of it to get your help making it happen, and particularly your help, Simon, getting the pronunciation correct and getting the spirit of the piece correct. It was not easy, but the singers are familiar with making all sorts of different sounds. So after enough rehearsal, we managed to make it happen.
Make it happen, you certainly did. Chris, what was your reaction when you heard the finished take?
Tim sent us 2 takes of the song. The first one, I never would have guessed that every single person in that room didn't know how to read and speak and sing in Ukrainian. The pronunciations were almost perfect. The suggestions that we offered were very, very minor, and it would truly be, a native speaker would be the only one that would pick out these very, very tiny minutiae. Just an incredible production by obviously very, very extremely talented singers.
It really is. And we're looking at the response on social media thus far. At the time of our chatting, it's got over 35,000 views already on Facebook alone. Tim, what's the response been like on your end, and how are you planning on continuing to perform this music?
It's been lovely to see the outpouring of support for Ukraine, and the love really felt around the world. It's one of the marvels of the internet is that people can watch this video from anywhere, and to hear about people sharing it all across the world is really inspiring. And we're hoping, one of the other things that we really hoped through doing this, and I know that you all have experience with this, is we hope that we would be able to not only share our version of it, but be able to share the tools that would allow other choirs to make their own recording of it. Because that's really what it's about. If you can inhabit that sphere, inhabit that music, then you become even closer to the spirit. And so in addition to the recording, we also put up a score, which you all helped us create. It was and recording, I think it's of you, Simon, speaking the text. Mm-hmm. And a transliteration and a translation so that other choirs could make their own recording if they wanted to join in.
Yep, there is certainly a call to action there. You've put together a hashtag, Sing with Ukraine, and looking forward to following that and hearing other people raising their voices. There is just, it is music, it is cultural music, and so much of culture is sharing it with one another. And so for you to lend your voices and to embrace the Ukrainian culture in the way that you have is really, as a Canadian Ukrainian, it is really heartwarming, especially in this incredibly difficult time. I guess, Chris, the last word to you. Maybe not so much as a chorister, but as a member of the Ukrainian community here in Winnipeg with family and close ties in Ukraine. What does it mean to have so many choirs? You spoke to the choirs in Oslo and in Austria. So many choirs and groups and communities and ensembles like Chanticleer singing with Ukraine through initiatives like this one.
I think Tim made a very, very key point earlier when he mentioned about not doing this in isolation and having that connection to Husli and to other choirs. And I think it's so beautifully symbolic of what the world is experiencing, and what Ukrainians of every nation are experiencing is that solidarity, that support, that coming together of people in a way that we typically don't see in today's society. And it's just to be part of the spark of that. Is very special to us as a choir, but more than anything, everything that can be done to keep the conversation going, to keep the support that's necessary front of mind for everyone who listens to the music and everyone who reads the news. That's the message here. And we're just so thrilled that Chanticleer has added their voice to that.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to chat with me at Classic 107 today. We're going to hear that beautiful performance by Chanticleer now. This is Boże Veliki Jedyny, the prayer for Ukraine of Mykola Lisenko.